Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute. I have definitely missed y'all, but I've been watching Desperate Housewives, okay? And not only have I watched all 8 seasons, I completed it, okay? And I want to talk about it, okay? Now, I never saw an episode of Desperate Housewives while it was on air. It was on air from October 2004 to May 2012. It was on for 8 seasons, 8 successful seasons at that. The only reason why the show ended is because the creator, Mark Cherry, he always said he was going to end it at 7 seasons, but it ended up going through 8 seasons due to the show extreme success. Now, I really want to comment on each housewife, and then that's gonna be like kind of my review in totality, because I'm not gonna do it by season. I'm gonna do it by castmate. I'm gonna do it by castmate that I like from the least to the most, and hopefully I'm gonna tie a whole story up in here if you haven't seen the show. Heavy on the spoilers, okay? Heavy on the spoilers, because I'm probably going to tell you everything about these women and about this show, okay? Now, I started watching this show because I wanted something clean to watch, all right? I didn't really want to do drama. I didn't really want to do something with like a lot of, bang bang and all of that type of stuff. Like, I just wanted something clean and funny and blah, blah, blah. And to be honest, I kind of thought I was gonna get that from this show. I did. It was some drama. It was some unalivings and essays and all things like that. However, it was like a well-rounded show for the most part. The second season was kind of like a struggle bus. Even though they claimed they had record numbers between season 1 through 6. I felt like season 2 was a little shaky. And was there any other seasons that I really didn't particularly care for? I don't think so. I don't think it was other seasons that I didn't particularly care for. So let's just go ahead and get into it. I want to start with the housewife that I disliked the most, and that was Gabrielle Solis. That Gabrielle Solis, who was played by Eva Longoria, I could not stand her character. I couldn't stand nothing about her. First of all, let's start with the fact that she is a pedo. All right, let's start with the fact that she's a pedo, and I disliked how they just glossed over that. Like, it was no big deal for this grown 30-something-year-old woman to be having sex with a 16-year-old boy. This was a minor. I don't care how you look at it, grown man on little girl or grown woman on little boy. If that was my son, Gabby would still be serving time. And so would I for whooping Gabby's ass. All right? We would both be collectively serving time. Gabby would have still been serving time. I don't think she would have been able to have those kids. And let's talk about those kids. Those kids was overweight the whole time. Gabby. The whole time. And then you indulged in it like it was no big deal. You fed them cake. You fed them cookies and ice cream. It was no balanced diet. And what happened to your maid? What happened to her? Carlos started making money again. Why y'all didn't hire the housekeeper back to cook well-balanced meals for your children? They didn't have to be obese the whole time. Both of them, you was a horrible wife. You was not supportive to Carlos. You was very selfish, very insecure, because all you could talk about was your beauty. But deep down, honey, you had several insecurities, honey. You had several insecurities. And let's not get back to the fact that you was having sex with this 16-year-old boy that you took advantage of. because you were so desperate for love and affection from your husband, who's out making money, by the way, to obtain the lifestyle that you want. You're having sex with the gardener. Somebody that's still in high school. High school? Like, ew. Gabby, I would have whooped your ass. Gabby, I would have whooped your ass something serious. Not only would I did that, I would have pressed charges. Everybody would have known what you done. You would have had to register as an SA offender. You would have had to register as an SA offender for the remainder of your life. And let's talk about the fact that Gabby and Carlos end up having a biological daughter that was switched with another family. What happened to her? Like, don't get me wrong. I never pushed nothing out of me, but I would have never did that. I would have never been okay with my biological child just going off with this other family and not having no communication or no relationship with her. Let me tell you what would have happened. The moment I would have found out that my biological child was at another household and I'm raising somebody else's child, we would have met up like they did. We would have had probably some family counseling sessions to see what was the best way to break it to these children. But if you think I'm not going to have my child that I pushed out and carry, and that's carrying my DNA, not in the rightful house that it's supposed to be raised in, oh, baby, boom. I understand that we thought this was Juanita, and this ain't really Juanita. This is somebody else, Juanita. Juanita got to go home. Juanita got to go home, and I need to get my child however come. But because we we created a bond and a relationship with this child that's not biologically ours, I would like to stay in the life kind of like as a godparent. Why y'all couldn't a godparent y'all foster kids? Because that was not your child. That wasn't your child. That wasn't your I want my child. I want my child. And then Gabby, Gabby, I'm gonna move on off of you because again, you wouldn't have made it past first season. The moment I would have found out that you had sex with my child, I would have whooped your ass so bad. And I know I wouldn't have went to jail. This number one. I know I wouldn't have went to jail because you would have never wanted to report this because you know what would have happened. But two, I would have politely went to jail. I would have did it with my whole chest. I would have went to jail. You fucking right I would have. Absolutely. Behind my child. Especially given my history. Oh, please. Please. It would have been no understanding. You couldn't have paid me off. You would have need to go and do your time. The same way Carlos went and did his time, you would have need to do your time. You would have need to do your time. Absolutely. So I'm going to get off you, Gabby, because you still would have been in jail. You would never had Juanita and that other thick one. I don't even know her name. Little baby. She barely spoke. Gabby, you was a horrible parent. Like, and people said that throughout the season. Girl, I have to agree. You was horrible, Gabby. You should. Let me get off Gabby. Number 3. Coming in is Lynette. Lynette. It's so many things that I like about Lynette. She was a strong personality. I felt like she was a great mom, a wonderful worker. What else? Great cook, it seems like, with the family. Great poker player with her girls. But Lynette was a manipulative, cold-blooded, cutthroat bitch. Okay? Not the bitch I inspire to be, because there's certain bitches that you inspire to be. You know. But Lynette wasn't one of them. The way you fucked your husband out of career growth so many times, it baffles me, because it's like you say you love Tom so much, but girl, you was operating as an op. Like, why wouldn't you want your husband to fulfill his fullest capabilities? Like, do you have to be so controlling? Do you have to be so criticizing? Do you just have to be a cunt? Like Lynette, to be honest, I don't see how anybody would like you. I don't see how anybody would like you. Lynette, I do not like the way you treated your husband through the entirety of your marriage. And it was surprising to me that it took over 22 years of marriage for Tom to be like, bitch, like, I think I'm better over there. I think I'm better over there. Lynette, it didn't seem like nothing was joyous about coming home to you. You criticized literally everything. And a lot of points, you did not have this man back, even though you said you did, because you was doing shit behind the scenes. Lynette, that was not right. You had, I believe, 5 or 6 beautiful children. I think it was the twins, the other one. Do you have a little girl? And then another little girl? Okay, so you had 5 kids. Was it 5 kids, Lynette? And then Tom's side baby. What happened to Tom's side baby? Tom's side baby came in for about a season, and then we never saw her again. I'm glad we never saw her again, because that was a vindictive little prat as well, because she got it from her mama. All right? She got it from her mama, but that would have caused a lot of issues if Lynette and Tom trust wasn't like that. And it was for the most part, even though Tom did have some doubts. But baby, that was crazy. Why we never seen the little girl again, Tom? Or the show? We knew that was your outside child, something that you had prior to you being married to Lynette. But whatever happened to the child? The child is grown now. I'm pretty sure, you know, she probably outgrew the vindictiveness that she had, because, you know, child stuff. She wanted Tom to be with her mama versus Lynette. Okay? And Lynette was, you know, hard on her children. I mean, I feel like she was great when it came to the structure of her children for the most part, but she also should have whooped their ass. All right? She didn't whoop her children or give them a timeout, and it showed. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say, Lynette. That's all I'm going to say. At the end, you end up getting your man back, but your man had to leave. Your man had to leave and go get with Jill. I think that was her name. He left and went and got with Jill for you to chill. All right? And sometimes that's probably what it needs to take to see what you lose in order for you to get it back. Because that's when you started chilling and calming down. It's a shame it took, again, over 20 years. But you got it. Let's move on to number 2. Bree Vanderkamp. I ain't gonna lie. Bree was holding the number 1 spot for a minute, because Bree is like me, okay? But I got a little bit more Cajun and seasoning. I got a little bit more seasoning than Bree. But, baby, me and Bree, so many similarities. The way she's so hospitable and gracious, and how she cooks, how she caters to her family, how she's there for her friend, how she's strong-willed, how she's independent, how she has a great relationship with God, and like how she upholds her vows in marriage, and how she keeps a clean, tidy home, how she's very nice and astute. And baby, me and Bree have a lot of similarities. And Bree will go there. When Bree slapped the shit out of her mother-in-law, look, Bree told that lady nice one time, because this is when after she lost Rex or whatever. She lost one of her husbands because she didn't know that her boyfriend that she was dating on the side was secretly poisoning her husband. Long story, you gotta go watch the show. But of course, Bree is mourning, you know, the death of her husband. And it seemed like every time somebody went to console Bree or ask Bree how she's doing, here go the mother-in-law that Bree already didn't get along with, always interjecting in the conversation and making it all about her. Like, forget that Bree lost her husband. I lost my son. I lost my son. And then she would cry so uncontrollably, like she couldn't be consoled. She would basically cause a scene. Bree politely asked her, can you please stop doing this? Like, I understand that you lost your son, but do you not think that I deserve no type of sympathy or no type of consoling after I lost my husband? Like, why are you doing this? Because you're doing this on purpose. Not to mention the mother-in-law helped try to point the fact that Bree had something to do with the death. I mean, crazy. I would have smacked the shit out of her too. Because let me tell you something. You can say a lot things about me, and this is what Bree said, but you will not say I was a horrible wife. You have no idea what I went through with your husband. I mean, with my husband, your son. All right? You have no idea. So you cannot sit here and be, baby boom. I would have, listen. I would have smacked the shit out of her too, because clearly you have lost all sense of self and you need to get some sense slapped up in you. I would have slapped you too. You know, and I'm glad Bree called the mama out on the BS. Who want to deal with that? Like, who want to deal with that? And then you in my house. You in my house, spending the night, staying, forcing your way to be in here for me, for the children, but yet you secretly telling the police that I had something to do with it, that I poisoned my husband after your son cheated, had a whole affair with the bitch down the street. But we don't want to talk about that. You see what I'm saying? And I don't like that either. How these mothers can just excuse their son's actions all because you don't like the woman. So your son doing this was okay. Your son doing that was okay. Your son doing this is okay. However, what? What did I do wrong? Try to fight for my marriage? Bree started doing S&M and participating in things. Hell, she pulled up on sis. Bree pulled up on sis. You know how many women that was then. This is now. But when I tell you me and Bree were like this, because the audacity, and just because I'm so strong and stoic in person, that don't mean I'm not a person too. That don't mean I don't hurt. That don't mean I'm not in pain. That don't mean I don't feel betrayed. And then when Bree had a hard time and she started battling alcoholism, not to mention her sorry ass son Andrew and the whole of a daughter Danielle, Bree was going through. Bree was going through it, honey boo. She lost, I think, 2 men passed. I forgot that other one name. And then 2 men left. And then did you see what Orson did at the end trying to blackmail her? I mean, sis couldn't catch a break. Bree couldn't catch a break. She started her own multi-million-dollar business. Then Rex side kid came and tried to blackmail her out the business. And see, that's another thing when you a boss as well. You can sit here and try to say, oh, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have this, or I'm going to take everything and blah, blah, blah. When you build something, you can build it again. But when it ain't yours, you ain't going to know what to do with it. You can try to copy it, but you always got to consult the blueprint. You always got to refer back to the blueprint. This the blueprint right here. This it. So Bree was like, okay, even when Rex was ooh. Did you not see what kind of husband Rex was and how he treated Bree? But again, that is excuse. We gonna go ahead and get off Bree. Because again, Bree was like, my bestie. We gonna move to number one, which is Susan. All right. Now, Susan did not start off my number one because I was like, who is this klutz? Who is this idiot? Susan, I wish I could be in Delulu land like some of these people, like Susan was for like the first 80% of the season. Susan was Delulu. But let me tell you something about Susan. Susan is a better woman than I ever be because almost every friend of Susan went with her ex. What the fuck was that? Like, I'm sorry, but I would not have no understanding when it comes to that, especially husbands. My ex-boyfriend's fine. Like, oh, y'all. One of my friends called me, I want to say about a year ago, and she asked me if she can talk to this dude that I used to date. Girl, please, have at it. Of course you can. I thought he was married, though. He wasn't married. He ain't married still? Child, I found out, girl, we dated. This is what I ended up telling her. I said, we dated. Yeah. But when he asked me to move to New York with him, and I told him no, I swear to you, literally the next week, he was married to someone else. Literally. The next week, this man was married to someone else. We was dating. We wasn't serious. We wasn't boyfriend and girlfriend. But he said I was kind of like the one that got away. I hear that all the time. I promise you guys, I lied. We did date, but not like that. We dated, but in like middle school, we dated on the phone, y'all. That's it. Like, all we did was talk up on the phone and go to Astroworld. I don't count that as dating now that I'm grown and 37. We never had sexual intercourse or anything like that. You see what I'm saying? We went out on a total, I want to say, of 3 dates. Boudreaux's, raw sushi, and raw sushi. You see what I'm saying? So the fact that he was trying to like propose to me and move me to New York and he didn't know nothing about me, of course the answer was going to be no. I didn't also think that he was, I mean, I didn't know what he was doing. Of course, I mean, if we dating sporadically like that, we only went on 3 dates. I'm not thinking I'm your only option, but I also didn't think he was going to get married literally the following week. Literally the following week. Okay? He was married and posting it on the face in the book. So when my friend called and asked me, I didn't give a shit. You can call me for Chris. I don't give a damn. You can talk to Chris. You can talk to Anthony. I don't give a fuck. You can talk to them. All right? That wasn't them that she was calling about. It was another dude. But, baby, but husbands, absolutely off limits. Absolutely off limits. Chris was a husband, but I don't count him. That won't count him. That was like a trial marriage. My subscription ended. And I didn't renew. I didn't renew the subscription. I don't count that. Husbands, absolutely damn not. Y'all couldn't find no other man. That was the only man on Wisteria Lane. That was not the only man on Wisteria Lane. And why you couldn't go another street over? Y'all had to go with Carl and Mike. And then it was the chick, the crazy cuckoo chick across the way. What was her name, y'all? What was her name? That girl was crazy. She was Delulu. Oh, and Edie? Let's not forget about Edie Britt, the town neighborhood hoe. She gonna get an honorable mention. Hopefully I remember. Because I want to talk about Edie and Vanessa Williams and Alfred at the end of me talking about Susan. Those are going to get some honorable mentions. All right? But baby, you not a friend if you trying to talk to my husband. And for Bree to be fucking Mike, no, not Mike, Carl, behind Susan's back for as long as she was doing it and gave her the jewelry. Men are low down and dirty, man. Men are low down and dirty. Not only are you having sex with one of my best friends, you gonna get this bitch a piece of my jewelry? And you told her the same thing when you gave her the jewelry as when you told me? Like, oh, what? What was Delulu? Okay, now, Catherine, thank you. Catherine was so Delulu, living across the street from Susan, and the way she was going after Mike, crazy. Then Mike and Susan, they end up getting a divorce anyway, which I was so sad about that. They end up getting a divorce anyway because Mike and Susan wasn't involved in a car accident, and the accident resulted in a death of a mother and a child, and their marriage couldn't rebound from that at the time, so they end up divorcing. But right before they was about to divorce, Susan was like, look, you know, I think we're looking at this all wrong. We just both been going through some things and dealing with it in our own ways. I don't think we should divorce. And Mike was like, we've been dealing with this for months, and now when it's time to sign the papers, you like, no, fuck that. You didn't put me through this for nothing. So he signed the papers even knowing that he was still in love with Susan. And so he started dating Catherine, which was one of Susan's friends, which is crazy to me. Like, wow, out of all the women in the world, but okay, girl. And she started having sex with someone else. But eventually when it got serious with her having sex with the painter or whatever, Mike got jealous and he wanted his old thing back. And plus they had a child together. And when he found out that Susan was getting married, it did something to him. So he proposed to Catherine. But then when he found out that Susan was only getting married for a green card, he tried to rescind the proposal from Catherine or whatever and whatnot. And Catherine knew that was going to happen because she knew that Mike was still in love with Susan. Then somebody tried to kill Susan or whatever and whatnot. The dad of the person who they accidentally ran off the road or whatever tried to kill Susan or whatever. And Mike, you know, realized right then that he couldn't live without her. So they end up rekindling their relationship. So he was like, to hell with Catherine. Then Catherine started coming up with a whole delulu story that her and Mike are still together. She was trying to seduce him on a regular. And Susan, why didn't you fight her? I would have fought her. Like, see, this is what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, but I'm not giving nobody grace when they know I'm in a committed, healthy relationship and you actively trying to take my man. I'm going to give you one conversation. Just one. Excuse me. To be honest, I think that's the whole conversation. Excuse me. Because I feel as though that sums up everything. Like, what the fuck are you trying to do here? Because it's not going to end well for you. Excuse me. The rest of the conversation should be nonverbal. Okay? Because if you ask me, I'm the wife. I'm not the one who needs to be talking. You need to explain yourself. Excuse me. Second time, I'm getting physical. You've been warned. Second time, I'm getting physical because you know what you're doing. So, okay. You want to play? We can play, sis. You want to play? We could play. But another thing, I know my man would have never also put me in that situation. Mike, I understand you're a plumber, but you're a man too. And that's what I'm saying. Y'all be knowing when women be trying to throw signals at y'all, but y'all enjoy the attention because it's good for the ego. It strokes your ego. But don't let that bullshit fuck up what you got at home. All right? Don't let that mess up what you got at home. The way Susan had her daughter back when she got attacked. Okay, and how she went and rolled up on old boy who she thought did it. Baby, how she was going to let that car down on him. Baby, what? Yes, Susan. Baby, Susan started showing out at the end, honey. Susan, and then when she lost her husband, when she lost Mike, that was so sad. I'm like, dang, Susan, y'all just drug Susan through it. She started off this gullible, fragile character, but Susan grew, y'all. Like, she became such, to me, a courageous and a phenomenal woman. Like, and she forgave everybody. It still didn't stop her from being who she is. Baby, Susan, I like you, Susan. She was the first one to move away from that lane and was like, baby, I deserve more, and I'm better than this place. Like, Susan, girl, kudos to you. Obviously, you did a lot of good things because a lot of them hoes wanted your man. Okay? So, kudos to you, Susan. You know what I'm saying? You went through a lot, but you still held your head up high, and you still had your friends back even through all that. So, let's talk about the mentions. The first one I want to talk about is Alfre Woodard. You should have never been on the show. She came on season 2. I did not like your storyline. You with 2 sons, one which is mentally disabled, and then the other one who's, baby, I felt like that storyline did not need to happen, and that was not my first depiction I needed to see of a black family on that white ass show. That one of your sons is mentally challenged and the other one is basically a murder, and y'all running away from a crime, and you locked one of your sons up in the basement, and then you was gonna kill him by poisoning his ice cream. Like, to me, you was not a great mesh with the show, which is why I see why your character was off within the first season. That only season 2. You was only there season 2, baby. That was it. That's all you needed. Let's talk about Edie Britt. Nah, I'm going to save you last, Edie. We're going to go to Vanessa Williams. Vanessa should have been on the show from season 1. She was an amazing addition to the cast. She should have been more than just like a friend of, if you ask me. I would love to hear and see more backstory on the Renee's character, which is the character that Vanessa played. I hate the fact that y'all had her end up with this crummy, bummy dude that was in debt, basically tried to lie and bamboozled her into marriage, okay? And she ended up, baby, there's no way that somebody as smart and beautiful as Vanessa fucking Williams would end up going with that con artist. And she talking about they was in love. It did not seem like it at all. Even on screen, I did not see no chemistry. None. I seen more chemistry with Juanita and Cake than I did with Vanessa Williams and Oh Boy. But however, I love that her and Lynette was besties. And again, I like how she messed with the cash. It seemed like she should have been there from the first beginning. Let's talk about Edie Britt. Edie, you was nobody's friend. You was nobody's friend, Edie. Edie, I can't believe that the ladies even kept you around. You wouldn't have been, Edie, you wouldn't have been in no poker game, no picnic, no birthday parties, no anniversary parties, no cookout. You wouldn't have been invited to the PTA. You wouldn't have been at my son's christening. Edie, you are nobody's friend. You was a mother. You ain't even want nothing to do with your own child. You ain't even want nothing to do with your own child, Edie. Your ex-husband had custody, and then when your son was there, you act like you was so inconvenienced you didn't want nothing to do with him. And the only reason why you kept him in your life is because you start Carlos, like, that's what I'm saying. And then you dated all of your friends' exes, damn near. You dated 2 of Susan's exes. You tried to get with Mike. Then you went with her ex-husband, Carl. Then you went with Gabby ex-husband, Carlos. Like, girl, you was just throwing that thing around. Wasn't you, little hot pocket? Wasn't you, little hot pocket? And how they killed you off, I didn't like that either. I felt like you should have had, a better ending to the character. But Edie, you was nobody's friend. You was nobody's friend. How you tried to trap Carlos into staying with you and faking the girl, nobody's friend. Absolutely nobody friend. The gay couple was cool, but most of the time, I ain't gonna lie, when they got added, I forgot all about them. Who was the real MVP was the old lady. What was that old lady name? Hold on. What was that old lady name, y'all? The one who ended up taking the rap for all the ladies at the end who died of cancer. Hold on. She was the MVP. Hold on. Let me bring it up. Y'all, where is it? Hold on. I'm about to bring that thing up. I'm about to bring that thing up, baby. Because when I tell you... Y'all, I cannot remember that lady name. I knew I should take notes. Big told me to take notes. He said I might forget some stuff. And I'm not saying he was right. I'm not saying he was right, but listen. I go off the cuff. Hold on. Mrs. McCluskey. Baby, Mrs. McCluskey got on that stand, baby. And took that, baby. She was like, it was me. I did it. I did it. And what? Mrs. McCluskey was the OG, baby. She told Lynette about her badass goddamn kids. She told Gabby about her selfish ass. She told Bree about her drinking and her hoish ways when Bree started being a hoe. What did she tell Susan? I'm not sure if she told Susan anything that stands out. And then at the end, she was the MVP before she died because she knew she was dying because she had cancer or whatever. She got on the court. She got right there, baby, and told them that she did it. Yes, baby, I did it. It was me. She said, not kill that son of... She did it with such conviction. Come on, baby. That's what... Come on, man. That's what I'm talking about, Mrs. McCluskey. Baby, you would have had a good send-off. I would have made the best banana pudding at your repast. Girl, I would have had the best banana pudding. I would have probably got up and said a little few words or whatever and whatnot. Overall, it was a good show. I'm not rewatching it again. Like, if it was to come up sporadically on a Temu, is that Temu? Tivu? What it? Tubi. Temu is a website. Tubi, no. That's not something that, you know, or whatever. But it was good for what it was. I'm glad I was able to binge it. And that's it. Right now I'm watching The Big Bang Theory, so stay tuned about that. So who was y'all favorite character? If y'all seen the show, did y'all see it in real time or did y'all start binging it? And then who was y'all favorite character? Was there something that I forget to speak on and talk about? Because to be honest, to me, the rest really wasn't important. It was just fluff. But yeah, Susan and Mrs. McCluskey for the win. Thank you so much for watching this review and recap full of like heavy spoilers or whatever. And if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.